spread the word. The JCPenney Friends and Family Sale is back. And this week, we're passing the savings on to you. Use your extra 30% off coupon to prep your home and style your family for Easter. That's extra savings on top of our great low prices. Plus, share your coupon with everyone you know and love. It's always better when we save together. JCPenney. Make everybody count. Offer valid 3/11 through 3/17. Exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Hello, guys. Welcome to the magnificent 24/7 podcast tonight. We are joined by Chase, Neil, Shake, FaZe, and Xander at the moment. We might be joined by some more people in a bit. How are we, guys?
Good, mate. Very good.
Good. All good.
I'm very fabulous today on this fine Sunday evening.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Extravagant.
How are you, Neil?
All right, guys. How's everyone doing?
All good.
Mate.
So, let's crack on straight with our thoughts on the 1-0 loss to Crystal Palace yesterday. Obviously, back-to-back against Crystal Palace. We got the win in the League Cup, but we didn't in the Prem. Not a great start to the season. What's your thoughts, Jace?
Wow, where to begin? As we can see, possession means nothing. Having possession means nothing if you can't put the chances away or create any chances. We had 4 shots on goal with 77% possession. I mean, just abysmal. I mean, there was just no creativity. We looked lackluster. We just looked so disjointed. Nobody was playing as a squad. It was not a great performance whatsoever.
Yeah, what about you, Xander? What did you think of the game?
I just think you can have in football, we had all the possession in the world. But you can have all the possession in the world and, if you have all the possession in the world, that ain't going to win you a game of football. I thought we had chances, but again, I think the one thing is we've seen a lot is when we create chances, we don't take them. And yes, it was a set piece, but Anderson took that chance and it went in. So I just thought, it wasn't a bad performance in my eyes. I just thought we weren't clinical up front.
Yeah,
At the
it's
end of
so
the day.
sure as we've had the last few months. It's like we need to get better at our finishing. Hopefully, Hoyland will do that. But what's your thoughts, Neil?
Right, guys. Again, same thing. What really Chase sort of said with the game itself. We created so much. We failed to find the back of the net. I do think it's a learning curve for the other players because we've just brought in Hoyland. They need to get used to his runs and stuff. But
we haven't had a proper number 9 for 18 months.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while to get used to it.
Here's the thing now. I also have to question, yet again, the motivation of some of these players. Because, okay, Fair enough, you can put it down to not having a strike for 18 months, but that's no excuse for not putting in 110%. It's like as soon as we conceded, again, there was no sort of fire to get back in the game at all. I didn't see that from anyone, and it's just a case of now, where do we go from here? I hope they can. Well, I hope Ten Hag especially can look back at that game and sort of say, okay, let me make some changes now, and let me put some players on that will just fight for that badge, like we did against Palace in the previous game. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Yeah, just those are my thoughts, really.
What is your thoughts, Jace? Shake. sorry.
Like Zander and Chase have rightly said, there's only one stat that matters, and that is the goal scored, right? But me, I was discussing with some of the guys earlier. There's a lot of, I think, although there is a loss, there was a lot of good performances on the pitch for some, I would say. I think one key takeaway was Mount. Some may have been disagreeing with that, but stats do not lie. I thought he was impressive yesterday. But yes, sadly, a very disappointing result. And in agreement with Neil there, it doesn't see much urgency. There's no fight back. And it's really disappointing to see, to be honest.
Yep, I agree. What about you, FaZe?
Yeah, lackluster. That's the word that just every time United lose, there's another adjective that you don't want to use that seems to crop up out of the woodwork. They just looked like they were just waiting for someone to do something, and there was a lack of teamwork, team ethic, commitment. It was boring. I mean, it was one of the most boring games I've watched in terms of Man United. I thought we go behind, this might put a rocket up the proverbial. However, unfortunately, it did nothing, and we huffed and puffed. I mean, even if you want to call it that, but yeah, in essence, agreement with all the lads. There was just nothing on show in terms of an end product. So disappointing bitterly.
Yeah, I think you've all covered it quite well. What I saw of the game, yeah, I think we just need to get used to having that striker. I think, as we say, not having the possession means nothing if we're not going to take our chances.
Yeah, but
what
we've seen again, John, was yesterday as well, is what we've seen a lot this season is every time we go a goal down, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. And it's just like, well, why are you playing for the team if you don't win? If you go 1-0 down, I want to see a fight back. We've seen it last season, did we not? Where every time we went a goal down, we would always turn that game around, and we would always come out that second half and we would go boom. But no, we didn't. We've not seen that this season. It's just disgusting and sad.
I mean, for me, the biggest disappointment yesterday was Bruno. I mean, he was like Patrick Swayze in Ghost yesterday. Where was he? Honestly, where was he? I mean, he disappeared. So, I mean, when your captain is disappearing, that's a big problem as well. In a match when you're down 1-0, that's where you need your captain to rise up to the occasion and bring everybody else up to the occasion.
Yeah, we'll get some thoughts from some of the comments as well. We got Ant here. It's just not good enough. We didn't attack or defend like a team. Terrible performance. I think a lot of people agree with you there.
Yeah, he's spot on. He's spot
on.
Oh
yeah, 100%. I agree.
Again,
there, right?
I think the thing is, even though we had the ball, it didn't feel dangerous. We didn't feel dangerous. It didn't feel like we were going to do anything. You could just see you could just see Palace setting up, not having a worry in the world that nothing was going to happen. They were just standing there, and they couldn't get through it. We couldn't break them down.
I mean, but again, Chase, you look at that midweek game. A lot of the players that played yesterday, I'm not using it as an excuse. We should, admit it. We had chances. Were we the better team? Yes. Were we? In my eyes, we were the better team. We controlled that game, but we didn't.
Yeah, but see, that's the
chances.
problem.
And
This is
again, but how
where-
many more times are we going to see our defenders here get pushed off the ball like it's nothing?
But this is where possession means nothing. You can have all the possession in the world, have it all, 77%, 80%. Doesn't matter if you're not creating and breaking down that block. It means nothing on the stat sheet.
We saw.
I think one thing.
Wenger.
Sorry, what was that, Neil?
We saw Arsenal under Wenger was a prime example of you can have all the possession, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do something with it, right? So
yeah,
you know.
On the defense, do you think? Obviously, we have had a lot of injuries in that defense. Do you think the non-stability? We always go on about having that partnership in the back and how important it is, like people's knowing where runs are and where we have literally every game having a different partnership in the back because of injuries. Do you think that is affecting our season as well? Because, for example, Harry Maguire will make a different run than Martinez or Varane or Evans, for example, or the fullbacks. Do you think that's affecting it as well, where it's different back line every game?
I think it does. I think obviously not knowing who's going to be the next man to be next to you, not building that chemistry is obviously not the best thing. I mean, the right back, obviously we know who's going to be there for a while. It's going to be Delo until Wan-Bissaka comes back. Left back, I think it'll just be Amrabat until Shaw or Reguilon come back.
But do you not think it's hard because I still think we need Amrabat in that midfield though. Such a bad we need him in that. I think our best midfield would be Amrabat, Casemiro, and Bruno.
No, I mean I think that goes without saying. I think that part goes without saying. But for me, the defensive line being in effect an adverse effect on the performance of the team doesn't entirely wash with me. These players train in, week out, every week with each other, right? They should be establishing the relationships on the training pitch to be able to bring it onto the actual pitch in the 90 minutes. So, I mean, these are professionals, right?
Yeah.
So for me, and it's not, I don't think with yesterday's goal, I mean, for those that saw it, it was a fantastic goal that was scored. Anderson scored yesterday. It was a great goal. Top bins. It was brilliant. But the poor defending, yes. But how long can we drive with that excuse? You know, because to come back, I mean, you've got to put it on the attack, right? And we're not converting up top. So effectively, you could say that's also losing us the games too, because we're not. The only stat that matters is the goals, right? And in essence, the goals conceded, of course. But if we're not conceding any goals to win the game, we've got to score.
Yeah.
So I mean, we got to look at. I think everyone needs to take accountability on that pitch, not just the defensive line. I mean, Onana wasn't saving that, not a chance.
I think the manager has to take accountability as well. Shit.
Agreed. Yeah. Questions do have to be asked. Questionable substitutions being made. In previous games we've seen that he's made substitutions late. He's not made all of them. Sometimes he won't make any until like the last 10. And again, it comes down to hindsight. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. There were some questionable substitutions made on that game yesterday. But yeah, I mean, I think we need to look at our forward line as well as the midfield, rather than just our defensive line as well.
I agree, definitely. What's your thoughts on that, Neil?
Yeah, I do agree with Sheikh. I mean, everyone has to be held accountable for sure. I mean, the question you got to ask is how many times is the manager going to trust these players? Like we've seen it thrown back in his face more than once now, where he's gone and trusted the same I'm not going to name the players, but everyone should know who they are. Because, nowadays people seem to think that criticism is, is a very sensitive topic to talk about when you criticize someone. I mean, on spaces as well, especially, it's very toxic. But when we're positively criticizing someone, we have to, hold the manager accountable, and we have to hold the team accountable as well. So now, my thing is with this: is it the system that's the issue? Is it the motivation that's the issue, or is it both? I think it's both, for sure. It's the motivation and the system. You look at, again, we saw. Listen, I don't mind losing, but there's ways of losing. I can take a loss, but there's ways to take a loss. I don't feel as if, whenever we lose, those players give 100 or 200%. Like, I personally don't get that feeling. I don't know about you guys, but I do not get that feeling where we have ever fought. Maybe we saw a bit in the Bayern Munich game. And again, this leads back to my point again. What did I say last time when we were on the pod? I hope that the visit to Manchester Platz is a good to show what this club is about, to show that we are, to show that the badge is etched in the blood of the Busby Babes, to show what we came from. We came from nothing. And again, it seems like even that's not even lit a fire in their asses at all. I mean, if that's not going to light a fire underneath you, I don't know what will. So you have to be made an example of. So now my call out to Ten Hag is, you've trusted these players. They've thrown it back in your face. Make an example of them now. Let's go.
No, I agree. I think some of the players that's played in some of the cup competitions needs a chance. They've proved like Hannibal. I think Garnacho needs to start the next few games.
Exactly.
It's interesting. We'll get into him later on, but obviously Anthony's back now, so hopefully he can kick on. What's your thoughts, Faze?
Just on the game, right? And I keep it just to the game. I think your original question, right, was to do with centre backs, and I think the short answer is yes. Centre back pairing and a defensive solidity, players that play together make a big difference. But ultimately, in this game, Crystal Palace didn't come out third gear. And that in itself is an indictment of where Manchester United are playing at Old Trafford, and Palace were just, cruising. I think this team's got a serious issue, and I know that Bruno Fernandes and I know Marcus Rashford are very divisive subjects, but it feels like when Rashford and Bruno, or either or, are not performing, this team cannot find another way. So it feels like the natural reset of this football team at the moment is pass it to Rashford, or Bruno pass it to Rashford, and something's going to happen. And unfortunately, that isn't happening because either or are not on form, right? And we can go into that in more detail in this stream or another stream. So you'll be seen on Tuesday. We played a different Palace team, granted, a different type of pressure, but we played as a team, and I think that for me is the biggest takeaway. We played as a team. There were patterns, there were relationships, one would lose the ball and the other two would come and fight back and win it back, and it was fantastic to see. And look, we haven't seen a lot, so it doesn't take much for us to get excited. But that's what I really did enjoy watching. And then you go back to yesterday, and we're right back again to square one, which was timid, tepid football, just boring.
It's like 2 steps
no
forward,
fight.
2 steps back.
Absolutely. And I think it's a big concern. What Ten Hag does, I guess we'll wait and see. But yeah, that's what my take on it is. I think there's a real issue here with the starting 11.
Yeah, do we think he's gonna make those tough calls that we're all saying he might have to make, and dropping a Rashford for Garnacho, or
I think he needs to.
maybe drop in a Bruno for a.
I think he needs to, John. I think a lot of these players need to kick up the backside, if you know what I mean. They need that wake up call and
But do you
realise
think
that
he will?
I think he will.
History has taught us he won't, right? But
I disagree though, Fizz. I think he will. I think it will get to a point where he goes, right, I'm gonna show you that you're not that one man show, if you know what I mean. That you just not everything's running through there, and if you're not performing the way I want you to, then yeah, I think he will. I'm sorry, I'm just a bit tired today, so yeah.
I disagree. I don't think that there is a chance in hell that Bruno gets dropped. He's the captain, first team captain. He's not getting dropped. There's not a chance that Rashford's getting dropped. We've seen it week in, week out. I mean, what have these young players got to do to get a start? Sure, he switched it around in the Carabao Cup. You might see the similar traits being demonstrated in the FA Cup. But when it comes to Premier League and Champions League, no, it will be the usual 11 or the strongest in terms of name on that team sheet. That's what I think that will happen.
I heard all of that, Sheikh. I've just got a really quick side note to that. So I don't necessarily think it's just Bruno and Rashford that's the problem. And I before anyone gets the wrong end of the stick, any of the listeners, I don't necessarily think it's just them. I feel like we're just playing the blame game a little bit. And we've got to remember as well, I think Ten Hag has tried to accommodate Rashford in particular in a different formation. We played the diamond, we tried to play two up front and things like that. I think there's something bigger going on, and I'm not quite sure what it is, whether it's just the players in general, whether it's just the atmosphere around them, I don't know. But yeah.
Do you think the future of the club off the field is affecting the club on the pitch as well? Like, for example, how many times do we look up the takeover on Twitter? I'm sure these players are, because it's their business. If, for example, if one of your jobs was up for sale, you'd be looking up the business to see what's going on. Do you think that's affecting the players' mindsets slightly? I'll start with you, Chase.
I think so. I think this whole situation affects not just the players, but everybody at the club, top to bottom. You don't know what's happening. You don't know what's going on. And then also what the status of the club is at the moment, no expectations.
Yeah, you don't know what our goals are because we don't know what our budgets are because we don't know at the end of the day.
Just to add on that, like, those players are there to do a job and let's play football. Anything outside of the 90 minutes, I also appreciate it could probably be a distraction, right? How long? So we're telling me that if this continues to go on, that we're going to use, I'm not saying that we are, but partly we are, that we're going to use the takeover as a justification for poor performances.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying, I'm just using it from a human perspective. Like,
yeah, I know, I get what you're saying, but they're there to play football, man. And the takeover process started in November last year, right? And arguably a pivotal point of the season last year. Did it affect us then?
I just think the overall what's going on at the club is affecting everybody. And I don't think it's just about the takeover. I think it's the mentality that's going on within the club, the dressing room.
What's happened with Rashford? What's happened with Greenwood? What's happened with Anthony? I think it all adds up.
Also, what's going on with Sancho? There's just so much calamity. There's calamity in that dressing room, and it's gone from the top, trickling all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah. We have been joined by Masood. I'll get him involved in the conversation. What's your thoughts on the situation, the game, and the mentality? Do you think the takeover might be affecting it? Do you think on off the field situations might be affecting our performances on it?
Hi guys. Look, I was very disappointed with the game yesterday. After Tuesday's performance, obviously, I was quite upbeat. It's a combination of factors for me. One is mentality. I don't think we seem to be able to know what to do when the chips are down, like the United of old, where even now in recent past with Ollie, we used to come back when we're down. We used to come back. We used to have fight. So that comes down to a mentality thing as well. I'm not sure if amongst the players themselves, if the players are fractured within the dressing room, if there's cliques or whatever it is, like there's different factions within the dressing room, that might be a factor as well. But also for me, it's a confidence thing where we just need to sort of break the mold or get a victory where everyone's pulling in the right direction, pulling together in the same direction, where we can see we all together in the fight, from the manager to the last player on the bench. And look, the takeover can be used as an excuse, but like Sheikh said just now, it's been going on for a year, so that can't be a factor because we played with it for almost a year now, knowing what's happening in the background. So for me, it comes down to a mentality thing, which something the manager doesn't have to instill in you. You as a professional player should have the capability of playing professionally and fighting 110% every time you go onto the pitch.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. Do you think we're speaking about the mentality of some of the players, and potentially some of the players do need drop-in for some of these youngsters who did perform in the first Crystal Palace game? So your Garnachos, your Hannibals. Do you think Ten Hag will make these tough decisions and maybe drop some of these players?
I don't think he will. But if it's going to give some of the senior players a kick up the backside they deserve, then I think he should. But I don't see Ten Hag being that type to just throw away senior players, because he's not someone who likes to change for the sake of changing. And if he doesn't have confidence in a youngster where he feels they're not ready for the hustle and bustle of a Premier League game or maybe even a Champions League game, he's not gonna throw them into the deep end. He's someone who's very meticulous in the way he does things, especially in training and stuff as well. So he's just not going to do it for the sake of doing it or because the fans are making a noise. If he feels he needs to do it as an example, then I think he would do it. But I think we're not there yet, but it's close probably.
Yeah, I'm going to get someone in the comments involved again, and thanks for watching and getting involved. We like this. Be nice to see Garnacho and Hannibal start the next game. I think we are all on the same page on that. Hopefully he does it. So, over to you, Chase. I think you're going to get us into our next subject, aren't you?
Yes, we will be talking about our Brazilian star boy, our fidget spinner. Obviously, the club issued their statement of, since allegations were first made in June, Anthony has cooperated with police inquiries in both Brazil and the UK, and he continues to do so. As Anthony's employer, Manchester United, has decided that he will resume training at Carrington and be available for selection while police inquiries proceed. This will be kept under review pending further developments in the case. As a club, we condemn acts of violence and abuse. We recognize the importance of safeguarding all those involved in this situation and acknowledge the impact these allegations have on survivors of abuse. That was the statement from the club.
Yeah, came out a few days ago. So, I'll start with you, Chase. What's your thoughts on the club statement and the whole situation in general? there was something there from the start. Something like it never felt like it added up, did it? It was always
Yeah, no, I mean this to be completely honest, this was a situation that apparently was happening before he even came to us, before he was even bought by us. This, one of the situations was happening apparently according to her when he was still with Ajax. Um, it really seems like a opportunistic type of thing to me. I think it really feels like um, I can't believe he left me, so now I'm gonna get back at him
yeah.
and try
Some of
and
the
just
dates and stuff didn't add up as well, did it? Like
none of it, none of
yeah,
it
like
really.
I think we won't go too much into it, but I think there was a date that said thing was meant to happen, and he wasn't even in Manchester because he was away with the team at Bournemouth.
Yep.
But yeah,
I
what?
mean, he hasn't been charged with anything. He's cooperated. He's handed over his phone to the authorities. They didn't arrest him, so there should be no attacking him as an individual.
All the Brazil police are happy as well, by the sound of it. So
Yeah, nobody should be attacking him as an individual. This isn't that we need to stop this guilty until he is guilty. He's innocent until proven guilty. Now
yeah,
it's guilty
yeah,
without even proving anything. Um, so I think that just needs to be to stop attacking people when you don't know the whole situation.
yeah. I like you don't praise the club for much, but I do praise the way they've handled both the situation of actually investigating it properly, and so with like speaking to the police and all of that. We have had occasions with other clubs that it's been kind of swept under the carpet, if you mean, and it's a serious matter. So it is good that the club have actually dealt with it and spoke to the relevant parties
Well,
properly.
and obviously him handing over his phone, cooperating on all fronts. I think, to me, I think he's had all his ducks in a row. From
Yeah.
what I'm seeing of this, it seems he's got everything. He's got all the ducks in the row, and I don't think these women were prepared for him actually having everything and ducks in a row, saving messages, saving calls, saving all this on his phone. I don't think that they really thought, oh, wow, he actually saved all this, and now I'm kind of screwed in this situation here. And so I think the club having him go away for a little bit, I think that helped him mentally. I think he needed that. I think you could tell this whole situation has affected him mentally. You could really tell, especially in an interview that he did
Get with anyone.
when he was in Brazil. You could tell just his facial expressions. He was really, to me, it felt like he was heartbroken that the situation is happening to him. That someone would try and do this to him, try and destroy him as a person, trying to destroy his career. So I think him going away from football, away from everything, be with your family, get yourself back mentally, and then come back and handle.
Yeah. I think, Chase, now you're going to send it around to the team and get their thoughts on the situation.
Yeah. I'll go. Xander, what are your thoughts and feelings on this situation here?
I thought the whole situation was a bit questionable, to be honest with you lot. Everyone, I thought it was just, in my eyes, it was someone trying to get a cash off of a player who wasn't making a lot at Ajax, and now he's making the big bucks. They just want a cash grab. But I agree with you. I think it's these allegations, you don't know what it can do on someone until you see what it's like mentally, and you can just see Do you know, Chase, when someone you can just tell, you don't even have to ask them, are you mentally okay? You can just tell by how they look that they're mentally drained, they're physically drained, they're just exhausted. To me, it looked like Anthony was like that. He was tired of this. He wanted it. He just wanted it done, and I think he's actually done it in the right way. He's cooperated. He's went in voluntarily when the police asked him. And my question is, if he was guilty, why would he be doing all this? At the end of the day,
Yeah.
maybe he felt remorse if he was guilty. There's always that bit but at the end of the day, I think the club made the right decision. I think he is innocent 100%. I think they handled it very well. That he said, I'm going to do this. They both agreed, and he's came back. And I just always felt that he would always play for United again. It's not like the other situations where people compare, but that's a different topic that's a different situation. Probably another vid for a different day. I just think, personally, it's the right decision at the end of the day. I think our fidget spinner's back, our Brazilian fidget spinner's back, our ballerina's back, and I personally think that he will. I think we missed him on that right hand side. I personally think we did. But yeah, that's what I personally think. So I'm happy that he's back.
Yeah, good stuff, Xander. Good stuff. Love it. Our future Ballon d'Or Brazilian winner will be back.
Don't go that far, Chase. He's not that good. Jesus.
I think we'll go on and say it, but I think one thing we have missed is like a lot of people. He does get a lot of just football side of it. He gets a lot of sting, but what he does for that team off the ball and defensively and tracking back as well. I do think we've missed that the last few games. So it will be good to have that back in the team.
Yeah. We'll go to you, Neil. Neil, thoughts and
the Anthony situation now. I've got pretty strong views on this, but I'll leave out the extreme views for the spaces. But anyway, what I think of the situation as a whole, I'm glad Anthony himself kept all the receipts. Now, this is a thing the club can sort of put out to any other player, learning from both situations that we've had off the field with players at the club. They can honestly learn that, and put out the message to every single player that whatever relationships that you have, keep receipts. It doesn't matter if they are your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, just keep receipts of everything. I know it shouldn't be a thing, but the court of public opinion will destroy you. And this is what has happened with two of our players now, right? The court of public opinion has made a judgment based off of, certain pieces of evidence which they've blown out of proportion. And these are the same people that would say, don't trust the mainstream media, when they've just whipped up an agenda of some sort, off of very light evidence. Now, my question is regarding the whole Anthony situation is, since it happened at Ajax, were the Dutch authorities involved at all?
From what I read, from what I've seen as well, no.
Okay.
I've only had Brazilian and English police.
There was no involvement of the Dutch authorities. They have no comment on it. They haven't even opened a case on it. So at the end of the day, it doesn't make any sense to me why it's being brought up now when the alleged crime allegedly happened in the Netherlands. It should be investigated by the relevant authorities there. Now, because that hasn't happened, she hasn't got a leg to stand on. And I'm glad he's kept all the receipts. And again, you mentioned in the interview, you could see the emotion in the guy's face. Like, he doesn't care about the money. Think about it. Where this guy grew up, he's from the favelas. They have nothing. They have no reason to, at the end of the day, I honestly think if she wanted money, he would have paid it. Like, just been like, yo, take it and just leave me alone sort of thing. He could have easily done that. but he still chose to come on an interview, clear his name, first of all. Second of all, he's kept all the chat logs, which obviously his lawyer, I think, released, right? Was it his lawyer that released some of it? Yeah. So it was the lawyer that released like some of the chat logs. Obviously not the full chat logs, because obviously there's certain bits of information where, you know, if it is involved in an ongoing investigation, you can't really release to the public. But you know, the evidence is there at the end of the day. And now I hope again, now I'm gonna kind of go back a little to when Ralph Ragnick came in the club. Now, I know this may have no relevance, but I think it does. Ralph Ragnick was surprised that we didn't have a sports psychologist in terms of like a mental coach at all. We had nothing like that at United. So now, after these situations have happened off the pitch, what I want to know is what's being done at the club for these players and what type of support they're getting. Because
I agree. Because like going back to the Ronaldo comments last season as well, obviously a different side of it, but it's just in the mental state as well. What happened with obviously his one of his babies passed away, didn't it? Exactly. And he said that the club didn't support him very well on it. And
there we go.
Yeah.
So now, if the club didn't,
he also said when one of his kids got sick that the club didn't believe him.
Yeah, and if we go back to the Sir Alex Ferguson days, right? One of his quotes was, "Family is always bigger than football. There are some things that are just art, you know." And when Ronaldo's dad passed, look how much time Ferguson gave Ronaldo. You go take the time off. It doesn't matter. We lose the game, it doesn't matter. You go and take that time off. Now, if the club haven't provided Ronaldo with the basics of when his child unfortunately passed, and that's something disgusting, by the way, you know, if they didn't support him at all. What makes you think they're going to support these players when they're going through off-the-field issues like this of, you know, old exes coming up trying to ask for more money? We as men, right? And now this is just for like whole touching on men's mental health and everything like that. We as men are designed, like our coping mechanism, like we don't really talk. And, you know, with these players, it must be the same. They don't talk, they just get on with it, you know? Yeah. Not them a question, you know. I get the whole fact that, yeah, they're professional players, they should have an elite mentality. But if they're already broken, how are we going to know? They're not having a conversation.
On the club, though, to be the bigger people and hire someone like that.
I definitely agree, and it does need to be spoken about more. I will put some links about if anyone is going through any mental issues, always speak up. I will put some links in the description. There's always someone to speak to. So,
Sheikh, your thoughts on Anthony the Anthony situation?
Firstly, Jono, very well said, mate. It's good that you're putting an avenue for people to talk. I think it's very, very important that obviously, while recognising it at a level such as big as Manchester United, should be recognised on all levels. And I'm pretty sure that I speak for everyone. Everyone has their challenges, and you know, I think it's about creating a good network and supporting people. And I think Neil, you raise an absolutely fantastic point. Touching back on that particular point you made with Sir Alex Ferguson and Ronaldo, you also got to look at the pivotal point of the season we were at. You know, we were, I think it was in the advanced stage of the Champions League, if I'm not mistaken. And Fergie said, no, do what you got to do. And I think that's having someone like that is extremely, extremely pivotal, whatever walk of life you are going through. Just to know that you're supported is incredibly important. I have to say I agree with most of the comments that have been made. And Neil, I think you touched on a very, very fantastic point again. You know, he's not allowed himself to be caught out because he's kept the receipts. You know, it did start to smell odd to me. You know, I thought once it came out, I thought, not again. You know, another fiasco outside of the football club, you know, and again, relating to abuse and just thinking, oh my God, but I'm glad that Anthony made the decision to take a step away, or it was mutually agreed, to handle the situation. I think it's been handled effectively. He's been cooperative, which is fantastic. Normally, if someone has something to hide, they normally are not so forthcoming. So I'm glad that he's kept the receipts, glad that he's cooperated with the authorities. Hopefully, this is the last that we'll hear of it. It did start, like I was just saying a moment ago, it smelled really fishy to me when fabricated evidence was starting to be leaked into the public domain, which always raises eyebrows. And it begs the question now that if most of this is fabricated, or all of it, I'm not taking anything away from abuse, but if it is fabricated, if he was found guilty, the sanctions would be very, very heavy. But we talk about equality and treatment, right? What is going to happen in the eyes of potentially an individual here is getting their career destroyed.
Yeah.
Their livelihood, their reputation, their name. You only got to look at the, again, going slightly off topic a bit here, but it's kind of on topic, Benjamin Mendy. The guy cleared his name of all charges, but yet the court of public opinion still think that he paid them off. So even if the situation resolves, we're still going to get the banter that where as you've been seeing, and I won't quote it on here, the words, because I don't want to promote that. But I just hope this is put to bed sooner rather than later. Anthony can now focus on his football. Hopefully, we'll see a different Anthony now. Hopefully, you could tell, I think, that something was weighing. Well, it looked like something was weighing him down. He had a good start to his United career, and I hope that it continues. And he thrives. He's got point to prove now. That with that position on the right wing, again, another topic. But yeah, I'm hoping that this gets completed, finished, put to bed sooner rather than later. And I trust the relative authorities involved to be able to handle the situation effectively. Neil, just to touch back on what you said something about it occurring at Ajax, right? It's occurred in multiple locations, right? You got UK, the alleged that the Manchester United medical staff treated her at Carrington. So you've got now accusations that the club are doing a cover-up. So you're blowing up a whole new story there. Happened at Ajax. It's supposedly allegedly happened in Brazil. So there's a lot going on with this case. But yeah, I'm hoping that, like I just said for the 100th time, that it's sooner rather than later that this is put to bed.
Yeah, good stuff. FaZe, you're
Bonjour. I think the guys have all covered it really well, so I won't go down that road. I think it's important to be balanced and measured. And as Sheikh and everyone else has said, it's a serious allegation, either way, whether it's true or not. So I won't go into that side of it. I'll be a little bit more shallow and take the football aspect. And we need Anthony back. We need him back in good health, mentally and physically. So I believe he started training. Pinistri's doing a good job. So I think the quicker we can get him back, the better. And I think for the kid as well, it will be good to get back to a bit of normality. By the looks of it, he's quite distressed. So I'll keep it short and sweet, as I like to do on Spaces as well. I think everyone's covered it really well, and I've really got much more to add on it.
all right. Good stuff, FaZe, as always. Masood. You're on mute.
Can't hear you, buddy. Unmute.
Masood, mate, can you hear him?
No, we still can't hear him.
Masood,
Dude, I think you're having issues with your microphone, bud.
we can't hear you, Masood.
Scored an own goal here, Masood.
Try close the app and then come back
Rejoin,
on.
mate.
Rejoin.
Apologies, viewers. Technical difficulties.
Yep.
First time for everything.
This is
Yes,
the
yes.
this is the magnificent Red administration team. We apologise
We
for
don't-
the technical difficulties. We'll bear with us just 2 seconds. We'll try and fix this.
2 seconds, unfortunately. We don't want the
Yeah.
same lasers. So yeah.
The internet service providing.
Back over to you, Jono.
Yeah. Go on, John. I take the helm.
Go on, Jono.
You're on mute as well, mate.
No, no.
We have got him back. Yay.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good.
That's better.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Might be internet issues. No, so what I was saying was like what Faye said as well. You guys covered everything what needs to be said from the case perspective. But what I think Ten Hag has done since he's come, he's introduced a psychologist to the team, and we looked at how he handled Sancho last year, where he gave him the time off to get fit mentally, whatever he was going through. I mean, obviously that wasn't public knowledge at the time. So there is that aspect at the club now, which probably wasn't there in the past. So there is that side of things happening, which I think is very important as well, because we forget sometimes that these guys are human beings. Besides being highly paid individuals, they also go through human emotions like everybody else. And for me, that was something that I could now probably pick up, that Anthony was maybe a little reluctant playing because something was weighing him down mentally. And hopefully this clears it up and he's much more free when he plays as well.
Good, Jono.
We've had some really good comments on that. We've covered it really well. Thanks, guys. Thanks for anything in the comments as well. Thanks for watching. We've got one more subject to go, and the Champions League we're going on to now. So we are back in the Champions League this week against Galatasaray. Obviously, we lost our first game 4-3. It was a decent game against Bayern, but we need the win against Galatasaray. It's going to be a hard game, I think. They've made a few signings in the summer as well. So what's our predictions and what's our thoughts for the Galatasaray game? I'll start with you, Chase.
It's not at home, right? Yeah, it's in Galatasaray, isn't it?
No, it's at
It's at home, mate.
It's at home.
It's at home.
Totally.
I think it's gonna be a tough match. Galatasaray is not a pushover club. They're in the Champions League for a reason as well. So I think we need to take it. I think we need to step up. We really need to step up against Galatasaray. Take this weekend and look into the week against Galatasaray and hope for a better result, better cohesive unit, cohesive game, cohesive team play, and I think we'll pull it out. We're at home. The Champions League at home is always special night. So I think we'll end up pulling it out.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll get it done. It's going to be a hard game. What do you think, Xander?
That's the words that I'm going to use for that. I'm worried going into this game. I am really worried because Galatasaray, you look at them, Jesus, they're playing some excellent football. They've got a really good team. And they have goal scorers. They will take their chances. And I look at this and I just go, if we are not weight that,
Zaha's not even starting for them. That's how.
Yeah, and he scored his first goal. I think it was at the weekend for them as well. So you look at that and I just go, if we don't switch on, we can get punished here big time. And that's the worry. Yes, it's at Old Trafford, but Old Trafford at the minute is not a fortress like it was last season. I always fancied our chances at Old Trafford last season, We would always beat teams at Old Trafford. Do you know what I mean? But this season it's been a bit questionable, and I think Ten Hag needs to get his game plan right. This is the one game I say, and the one when we play them at Turkey, you need to get the game plan right. We really need to, because this is going to be a tough game, and if we don't wake up and we don't get the game plan right, we're going to lose. End of day, and it will be on 2 games played, 2 losses, 0 points, bottom of the group, and that's just the sad truth, isn't it? But yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1 United, I think, but that's it. But if not, it'll probably be a sort of talk about the other scoreline, what it could be.
Yeah. What about you, Neil?
Galatasaray. Right. This will come back to the same thing that I always refer back to: mentality. Now, it's a Champions League night, right? Galatasaray are coming to Old Trafford with no pressure. They have no pressure. They have nothing surrounding their club off the pitch. They're coming there just to play football and clear minds. They have a clear, probably a clear game plan in their head, compared to us, in my opinion. And again, their away support is no pushover. Galatasaray's away fans are fucking some unit, man, and they will support their team through thick and thin, even when they're losing. They're loud. So again, it's gonna be a thing of if whoever's playing on that pitch can see past the atmosphere alone, and if we can get the first goal, then we win. However, there's a flip side to that coin for me. If Galatasaray get the first goal, we're going to lose the game. And I'll put it out there. Because it's been proven time and time again that these players lack the mentality to claw back a game this season. We haven't done it yet successfully. So if we concede the first goal, I see us losing the game. If we score the first goal, we can dent the confidence of their fan base, because they rely heavily off the noise that their fans make, as well as the football, because their fans get behind them 100%. And I think Galatasaray away, this is where we need to mentally prepare, because the way Galatasaray's stadium is built, it's in a hole. So automatically the noise is elevated. I think they got like a record for being one of the loudest fans in the world. They're louder than the 747 apparently. That's the way the stadium's built, so the sound echoes.
Did you just say they're louder than a 747?
Yes, they tested it. I think the decibels.
A passenger airliner.
Yes, they tested the decibels, I think, at the Galatasaray Stadium, because it's built in like a ditch, sort of. Whatever sound is made, it's elevated 10x. So if these players go with a weak mentality to Galatasaray, we're going to get our asses handed to. And, if they let the crowd get to them, and again...
The away game to Galatasaray is the one that worries.
Exactly. And
more than the home game.
Both games worry me, only because it's down to whoever scores the first goal. If we concede against Galatasaray, those fans will get behind their team so much, and they thrive for that. And that's what Galatasaray are sort of built up on, is and they can hurt us, arguably. They've got the pace to, they've got the strength to, and now they've got the Premier League experience to hurt us. And who better to do it than Wilfred Zaha? But anyways, let's not talk about negative things. But again, if we get the first goal, I see us winning the game.
There's nothing positive to talk about,
And and if we concede the first goal, then we lose the game. That's just my thoughts on it. And if we don't go in there prepared mentally, then we've lost the mental battle already. And even before we've kicked the ball, we've lost the mental battle. So they're not going to apply themselves in the game. So, that's just my thoughts on it anyway.
What do you think, Chase? Shake, sorry.
That's right, mate. Right. I expect nothing less than a win. Simple as that. Nothing less than a win. However, obviously, my nationality being Turkish, I do follow the Turkish Super League. Galatasaray, Neil has put it very well. However, if we go in with the attitude of underestimating the opponent, we've done this before and we've been taught a lesson. There is no reason why I don't see us winning, but yes, the fans do act as a 12th man. I said this when the Champions League draw happened. I fear Galatasaray away more than I did going to the Allianz. Just purely because of the intimidating atmosphere that comes with the Turkish territory. And they are renowned for being incredibly loud. But yeah, I don't expect anything other than a win. If we do lose, I don't know if I have the mental capacity to cope with Twitter, to be honest with you, or X, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's a win for me. It has to be. 2 losses on the bounce in Champions League with our unfortunate with our abysmal league record currently are going to force hand at some questions being asked. I think even more so then, as opposed to before. So yeah, but no, I think yeah, if we get the first goal, I agree with Neil. I think it should be a comfortable win. I'd like to see another clean sheet. Myself, yeah, that's my views.
Yep, and I'm just going to get a comment in from the chat, and then we'll go to you, FaZe. So Craig here, FaZe got weight of the world on their shoulders. Champions League game, go out, express yourselves, stick a few of the youngsters in. Let's have a 3-0 win. United, I think we'd all love a 3-0 and some of those youngsters to get on the pitch. I hope Hannibal starts specifically in this game. I think it'll be a good game for him to start. What do you think about the game, FaZe?
I'm going to be quite positive, which I haven't been for a long time, because I'm at the stage where I kind of don't care because I've seen it at a bad stage. So let's roll with this. The guys have gone into the away game really well. I do think Galatasaray away is going to be a cauldron, like it's going to melt our players because they're weak mentality. So Galatasaray Old Trafford is different, right? This is our first Champions League game at Old Trafford for over a year and a half. So I think the fans will be up for it. Let's not underestimate our guys. I think the players, in a weird way, I think they're going to be feeling like there's less pressure and they may go out there and put out a performance. Now, in the Premier League, you can play anyone and it's 100 miles an hour. In Champions League, there is no bad team, right? So I'm not taking anything away from Galatasaray. However, they played their reverse fixture, or their first fixture of the group stages, and they were away at Copenhagen, and they just about scraped a 3-3 draw. So that, to me, tells me that at the back, they're suspect. I only watched the highlights, granted. They're gettable, or we can get at them. I don't know. I'm feeling rather positive about it. I'm sure on Tuesday evening I'll get an absolute rating from the lads, but I'm going to go with 4-1 United. I think there's going to be a slight change to the team, and I think you just see a slightly more relaxed and more team orientated performance. So yeah, I'm feeling rather positive, and I'll go with that up until the game. I'm sure I'll be a bag of nerves.
Yeah, nice, thank you. FaZe, we're going to go to you now, Masood, and then I'll go around and get final predictions on any changes you think the Ten Hag's going to make to finish off. So yeah, Masood, what do you think?
I'm with FaZe on this. I think the players will be up for this game, being the first Champions League game in a while at Old Trafford. And I think the crowd will be up for it as well. So, but like Neil said, if we get the first goal, it should be a comfortable win. So I'm like FaZe. So I'm actually going to go for a 3-0 scoreline. Yeah, I think we'll play much positive. and I think the players will be up for it. And like Faye said, there's less stress on a Champions League game than a Premier League game. So with all the hustle and bustle of the Premier League and the media and stuff, there's less pressure, if you can put it that way, on a Champions League game as opposed to a Premier League game.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think there will be a few changes. Hopefully, if I can just start over at that, Jono. If Reguilon is back, then I would love to see him at left back, so Amrabat can play in the middle with Casemiro, which will make a big difference in the team compared to the last game against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, definitely. I think that would be massive if he is. Chase, what changes do you think Ten Hag will make for this game?
Champions League match. I don't think we see much changes. I think he'll go strong. I think it's going to be strong. I think Rashford's going to play. I think Højlund's going to play. If Anthony makes it back in time, I think Anthony has a chance to get.
I was about to say, that's a good point. Do you think he gets a shout?
I think so. I think so. I think he's going to go strong. I mean, it's the Champions League. He's going to go very strong. I do see 3-0 United at home. First Champions League match at home. 3-0.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to go to Neil next because he has to leave. So what's your final predictions and what changes do you think Ten Hag will make?
I mean, the changes I hope for are hopefully he gives Hannibal a chance. I think rightly deserved. He does deserve a chance in that team. I hope he gives, again, Pellistri a start if Anthony's not back. I mean, if we can't get Anthony, then Pellistri I choose. And to be fair, I would honestly, and a lot of people may come at me for saying this, I don't expect it to happen, but give Bruno and Rashford a rest. Honestly. What is there to lose? We lose another game? Like we've been doing? No different, man. Just give Bruno and Rashford like the mental break away from things, because they probably go onto social media and they probably look at things that are very negative about them, so at the end of the day, I get it, they are professionals, but again, like we mentioned before, they are still human beings, so give them the time off, get some young players on, and I'd honestly love to see Garnacho start ahead of Rashford and have Pellistri on the other side with Højlund in the middle. And to be fair, instead of Bruno, we can have a midfield of Hannibal, Casemiro, and who would I go for? Yeah. Yep, and Amrabat just put him in midfield because he's been playing as inverted left back for a while now. But then who do we put as left back?
It all depends if Reguilon's back.
Yeah. Okay, if Reguilon's back, then we play Amrabat. Yeah, that's a good midfield. But yeah, that's all, guys. Anyways, thanks for having me on. I'm going to shoot off now, but I'll catch everyone in the next episode for sure. Guys, a bit.
Sheikh, what's your thoughts? What's your predictions for the game?
I don't think much changes, to be honest. I think I agree with Chase. We'll go for the strongest 11 available. Not in terms of performance, but in terms of name. Yeah, I don't see much of a change, and I know some of the comments saying hopefully a chance for the youngsters to come out. I think we'll see some of them feature, but I don't think that they start. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I think. Not much else to add, really. Yeah.
Xander, what's your thoughts?
my final thoughts is I agree with Chase. I think he'll play me up. No, I'm joking. I was gonna say he's play me up front and I'll score goals. But I think he will go with the strongest 11 up front. I was about to say bro there. I'm fucking tired. Anyway, yeah, he will play the strongest 11 available, and I think it will be. No, I'm not as optimistic as FaZe is. I don't think I'll ever be right now. I don't think it will be a 4-1. I think it will be a 2-1. If it's a 4-1 FaZe, I'll come to your house and clean it for you for a week.
I'll have to review that. So yeah, just so it's on air, I'll come back to you.
Yep. And what about you, FaZe? What do you think?
Yeah, on changes, yeah, not anything interesting, I'm afraid. There might be a couple. I think we've all touched on it. If Regulon is fit, which I doubt he'll be fully fit, because I think we're going to need him for so many upcoming games that I think he probably doesn't risk him. I think Amrabat's doing an okay job there. So possibly Mason Mount on the right, and puts Eriksen in there along with Casemiro and Bruno and yeah, maybe Højlund and Rashford. Again, I don't think there's going to be many changes. So and just to address that 4-1, that is a delusional suggestion. However, I'm standing by it. So yeah, 4-1 United.
Yeah, I'm going with it. It's going to be 4-1. If it's not, we're blaming you.
Yeah, all right, I'll take that.
And any other final comments from anyone?
I just want to go to bed, mate. I just want to go to bed, Jono.
Oh.
Cool. Thanks for watching the magnificent 24/7 Reds. We have been your team for tonight. Make sure you drop everyone a follow and check us out on all social. We've got plenty of content coming out in the future, and we will see you next week for another podcast. Good night.
You can be loser, set me free. You make me win every way. You show me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day.
Sports Social Podcast Network.